สวัสดีครับพี่น้องชาวเครื่องเสียงกลางแจ้งที่รักทุกท่านนะครับวันนี้หาเวลาว่างนะครับจากการทำตู้ลำโพงนะครับหลังจากเลิกงานเสร็จแล้วเราก็มาค้นคว้านะครับมาค้นคว้าต่อนะครับนี่เป็นตู้สไตล์เจบินนะครับเจบินที่มีราคาหลัก 200,000 ขึ้นนะครับเพราะว่าเป็นของค่าย RCF นะครับ RCF รหัสRCF ซับ9004 AS 18 นิ้วนะครับ 2,800 วัตต์นะครับเป็นซับวูเฟอร์ตระกูลหรือว่าสัญชาติอิตาลีนะครับสัญชาติอิตาลีเขาต้องมีดีของเขานะครับว่าจากอิตาลีนี่ทำไมมันมีราคาสูงจังนี่เป็นหน้าตาที่เขาเรียกว่าเจบินที่หลายๆคนก็ไม่ค่อยจะชอบเท่าไหร่แต่ว่าผมเองก็ชื่นชอบในน้ำเสียงที่เขาไม่ดุดันมากนะครับถ้าเราเปิดพอดีเมื่อใช้หลายๆตู้มันก็จะผสมกันไปเองนะครับนี่เป็นบอดี้ของเขานะครับที่ไม่ใหญ่ไม่โตมากนะครับจะเห็นว่า70x70ส่วนระบบควบคุมของเขาบอกว่ามีการควบคุมด้วยรีโมทระยะไกลนะครับ RDNet อันนี้เราก็ไม่รู้แผงนะครับวงจรด้านหลังระบบ Input Output ก็น่าจะเป็นระบบดิจิตอลส่วนตัวลำโพงบริษัทเขาบอกผลิตมาด้วยคุณสมบัติที่ตอบสนองนะครับตอบสนองความถี่ที่เหมาะสมแล้วก็ดีมาดูที่ High Pass Frequency นะครับรองรับได้ถึง 35-50 เฮิรตซ์ส่วน Low Pass ก็ 50-400 เฮิรตซ์ส่วน Body นะครับ Cabinet เขาบอกว่าโรงงานเขาได้ผลิตขึ้นมาจากไม้บิดไฟวูดคุณภาพสูงอันนี้เป็นบอดี้นะครับที่เราเห็นก็คือ70 55 70ก็มีแพ็กเกจนะครับมีผ้ากระเป๋าใส่อย่างดีเดี๋ยวเราจะมาดูรีแอคชั่นจากทาง RCF เขามาพูดถึงการ alignment นะครับการจัดการลำโพงในด้านของความถี่ต่างๆนะครับฝากไว้เท่านี้ก่อนละกันนะครับหลังจากดูวิดีโอจบแล้วก็ฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์กด Subscribe ด้วยนะครับสวัสดีครับ
Hello from RCF. In this video, we'll deepen in phase measurements. In particular, we'll focus on the slope of the phase trace in subwoofers alignment to achieve a current summation in the crossover zone. The big challenge when we do phase alignment is that the phase slope of the subs often doesn't match the one of the tops, even if we are in phase in the crossover frequency. This means that we are trying to align the two signals in different cycles in the crossover point. It will result in current sum just in the crossover frequency, but with ripples in the surrounding frequency that cause a no more linear frequency response. To find out the way to align our subs and our tops in the same cycle, we have to look at the slope of the phase trace. To discover how to start reading a phase trace, look at this example. We are currently sending a pure pink noise to our audio card. The reference signal and the measured signal are identical, with the same time arrival for both. A virtual situation, of course. The delay finder of the measurement software is set to 0 milliseconds, because the measured signal is in loop in the audio card as the reference one. For more details about dual-channel measurement setup, refer to our white papers about that. You can find it in the technical document section in our website. The result of this measure is a completely flat magnitude and phase response. Focusing on the flat phase response means that all the frequency from 20 Hz to 20 kHz are arriving exactly in the same moment. They leave as well they arrive. in the whole spectrum, as you can see. I want to remember you that all the frequencies in the pink noise start in the same acoustical moment, that means with the phase at 0 degrees. Now let's calculate the time that the sound takes to travel for one cycle at 100 Hz. It is time divided by the frequency. Time in milliseconds, so 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second, divided by the frequency. The result is 10 milliseconds. This is the time period of one cycle at 100. Let's introduce this delay in our measurement signal chain and see what happens in the phase trace. Now you can see that the phase is rotating. The first point in which we see the intersection at 0 degrees is 100 Hz. And as the frequency increases, the number of rotations increase as well, because the wavelength is shorter and the related frequencies rotate more times to travel in the gap of 10 milliseconds. To be more clear, all the frequencies are still arriving in the same electrical moment, because the delay is applied at the signal in the whole spectrum. But now they are arriving with different phase because of the delay. For example, the frequency at 200 is still 0 degrees, but it rotates 2 times before arriving. It comes after 2 cycles. From this, we can deduce that the greater the rotation and delay, the steeper the trace of the phase becomes in the graph. Conversely, if the delay is applied at the reference signal, the phase trace behaves in the same way, but with opposite direction. From left to right, from 20 to 20K, now it is going upward. From this simple example, we can see the first important things in system time alignment. After taking our reference measure, the tops for instance, the phase trace of the following measurement without changing the delay value in the reference very often could have globally an upward direction. This means if there are no other factors that pollute the measure, that the signal is arriving before the one of the tops. We need to delay it in this case, because remember that our goal is working to achieve the phase traces of the two sources overlapped as much as possible. This is mandatory in those frequencies where both the sources are playing, the crossover for example. Let's keep 100 as reference and memorize the measure. Now insert in the measurement signal chain 20 milliseconds of delay that are exactly 2 cycles. You can see that the phase trace intersects at 0 degrees, exactly the same position in the graph, but it is steeper. It's steeper because now in this point it is arriving after one more cycle with more delay. Memorize and apply 30 milliseconds. It intersects the same position, but it is even steeper, because now 100 Hz are rotating 3 times before arriving here. And this is the point, the steepness of the phase trace. This is the parameter we have to see when aligning in phase different sources in our systems, commonly tops and subs. Let's do a practical example. We are sending our measurement and reference signals to a digital processor. The reference goes through the DSP without any processing. Instead, the measured signal is split in 2 signals paths in order to virtually create a top by applying an high-pass filter and a subs by applying a low-pass filter. Unmute the top and apply a Linkwitz-Riley high-pass filter at 80 Hz. Align the measurement with the delay finder. It will find 10 milliseconds, which is the delay I applied in the top signal path in order to have the possibility to play with the sub-alignment in this tutorial. As you can see, with this filter we have 6 dB of reduction at 80 Hz, our crossover point, as well as 180 degrees of phase shift due to the filter. Now capture the measure and save as tops. Mute the tops and unmute the subs after applying the same filter. Of course, do not touch the delay finder anymore, because the top's time arrival with the related phase trace will be our reference to align the subwoofer. You can see the subwoofer magnitude that intersect exactly the one of the tops at the crossover frequency, but the phase trace doesn't match. In fact, if I unmute the tops, you can see some cancellations because of the phase mismatch. Look at the phase trace of the subs. It's going upward compared to the one of the tops. It means that the sub signal is in advance. We have to delay it. Apply 2 milliseconds. Not enough. 4 milliseconds. Again, not enough. 8 milliseconds. Not enough, but it is starting to change the direction downward. 10 milliseconds. Now we have the same delay we apply at the tops. In fact, now the phase of the subs overlaps exactly the top trace, because they are arriving in the same point of the same cycle, and we are using the same filter for both. Let's unmute the tops and we see a perfect zoom in the crossover, achieving a flat frequency response. A perfect alignment. Let's try to align after one entire cycle by applying 12.5 milliseconds of delay in the subs, that is the period. Again, you see the alignment at the crossover frequency, but not as good as before in the surround. The steepness is higher compared to the tops. Unmute the tops and you can see a good zoom at 80, but ripples in the surrounding frequencies, with more than 3 dB of cancellation in some regions. In the part 2 of this tutorial, we'll do the same procedure jumping in a real-time alignment in an indoor venue. Thanks for watching.